We were good.
Reason not working.
Good morning, everybody. I'd like to welcome you out to our regular board meeting, June 11th, 2026, at the Magna Water District. I'd love to call this meeting to order. Today, sitting at our dais, we have our engineer, Trevor Andre, our wastewater, Dallas Henline, our water manager, Steve Clark, our HR guy, Andrew Sumption, Jeff White, myself, Mick Sudbury, Danny Stewart, Leal Fitzgerald, our controller, our legal counsel, Nathan Bracken, and helping us with the meeting today is our general manager, Clint Dilly. So will you guys please stand and join me at the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to welcome the public and guests. Anybody here with public comment today that wants to speak to the board? Nobody wants to, is there anybody out there that wants to talk? Does anybody want to speak to the board? Public comment? Okay, come on up. Taking back the.
Leah, we'll take one.
Oh, thank you.
This is all the insurance gave us and stuff. Our insurance got a hold of your insurance and stuff, and so they're bringing all this up right now, so.
So your insurance contract contacted our insurance?
Yeah.
Are we,
And they both denied that.
they both denied it?
But we got this is new, this is what the plumber has just given us, so.
Okay,
If you wanna read it, I got a copy of it, so. Do you want a copy of it, or?
sure. Thank you. Geez, I can't even, Leal, can you read that? I can't hardly see that.
I'm blind too. So this is from the plumber?
What's that?
This is from the plumber?
From the plumber, yeah.
Cost to call jet sewer line after third of something. Oh, third of the cable could not clear sewer way. So went out and pulled manhole 2 doors down, and it was full of new sewage. So called Magna Sewer District, and they came out and confirmed it was their problem. By then, sewage was backing up into the Martinez home, filling the basement. My supervisor, wait, I can't read his writing, some supervisor came down, said, get it cleaned up, get a cleanup company, here, this is on us. Magna supervisor came down, said, we'll get a cleanup company, here, this is on us.
Dallas, do you want to respond? That would be you, right?
It's him.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, so I remember the incident, and I remember going in the basement, but we never declared fault one way or the other, and we didn't offer to send a cleanup service. There was a cleanup service on site. They were shop vacuuming and
You
everything.
told us to go ahead and get the guy.
I said you could have somebody come and clean it up, but that was no declaration of fault by the district. But we can't tell you not to clean up the mess.
You guys made the mess. What do you mean you can't clean up the mess?
Well, I think if we go back and read the report and the details, then you'll see that there was an issue in the lateral at the connection from the main to the home, not in the main itself.
We came up here and got you guys to go down there and see what was going on, and then you stuck that tube down.
So we did perform maintenance in the collection system
Yeah,
manhole.
you pushed it up into my sewer.
It was just a vacuum, it wouldn't have been able to push it up. But if you remember, if you remember the tool that guy was pushing out, he had pushed all the debris from the lateral inside the main. Remember the rags and the roots and stuff?
Yeah, it was up, coming from up there, up the block.
There was no evidence of any type of clog upstream of your lateral.
So can we recess on this, Nathan? Can we go into a close?
Yeah, we can go into close and talk about this.
Okay, does someone want to make a motion to close the open, and we'll go talk, and then we'll come back? Do you want to make? It is at 10.
Now, to be clear, it's not something that's noticed as an action item on the
Right.
agenda, but we could go and discuss it.
Okay. We can go and discuss it, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so should I make a motion?
Question I have for you on this though, so if we go in and discuss it, we can't come back out here and rule on it,
We
right?
don't have anything on our agenda that's an action item, but if there's next steps that you want to take or direction you want to give staff, you could do that in response to the public comment.
Okay. Go ahead and close the open.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to close the open and go into close. for
I guess it's
discussion.
to discuss the reasonably imminent litigation.
Yes.
Do what?
Litigation?
For litigation?
Yes.
It's 10:07 a.m.
I'll second that.
In motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
We'll go. So do you want to make a motion to open and close? Yeah, you go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to go from closed to reopen. The open meeting is 10:45.
I'll second that.
In motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, you guys, so you presented us some new evidence today. So what we would like to do, and we can't make a decision here today because we've been into close, is we want to reach out to our insurance company one more time and kind of go back and see where we're at on that. And then what we'll do is we'll respond back to you guys and give you what we can work out, if that's okay.
Got no choice.
Right. So, Liel, do you need any other, when I was going through reading some of your expense, I'm going to be really honest with you, I couldn't really understand it because it's just got all kinds of different numbers. If you wouldn't mind writing them out, line by line what the expense was, and bring it up to the office and give it to Liel, and that way we could maybe understand that a little bit better, if that would be okay.
Did you get all those pictures that Kevin Haas sent to me?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
all the damage to the
yeah,
stuff?
yeah, right. So,
Right now, we're paying the cleanup crew $400 a month, and
okay. How long do you think before we can give them an answer? Do you have any idea, Liel?
What do you think, Clint?
that's going against our credit.
Right.
Shouldn't take,
A month? By the next board meeting?
That's a burden on us.
Right.
We only get a fixed income.
Right, I understand that,
I had to sell my truck. And
Okay.
I had that for 40 years.
right. So, yeah, let us, like I said again, get in contact with our insurance company, and then we'll get back to you guys.
Okay,
And you know what? If we can push it along faster, we will,
okay.
okay?
Thank you, Tommy.
Thanks. So does anybody here have a conflict of interest? What's on our agenda today? Okay, we see none. Okay, let's move on. Let's approve common consent items.
Minutes of the regular board meeting held May 14th, 2026. Expenses from May 7th to June 3rd, 2026. General expenses, $798,054.72. Signs bank payment, $83,530.83.
I'll second it.
In motion is second, all in favor? Aye. Okay, let's move on to our department report. I'm gonna turn it over to you, Clint.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I'll highlight a couple things from the report. Our staffing, all of our positions are currently staffed. On the operations side, for the water, the Copper Club secondary water line install is complete, substantially complete. Actually, we finished up on that, right, Steve?
Everything but half of the approach is done.
Yep.
And that looks good. I seen it last night.
Yeah, well,
They're using the reuse water on the
greens.
greens, right? So that's exciting.
Yep.
Big thing for the district and for the golf course.
Yes.
So that's neat to be able to report. One concerning thing that we wanted to just give the board a heads up on, every year before we send water into the drinking water system, we sample each well individually and make sure that it's clean and ready to go. And one of our wells, before we put it into the system this year, came back with some bacteria present. We don't know where that's coming from. So we've been disinfecting and flushing. We've been discussing with a consultant what the possible sources are. We haven't reached a determination yet. Our disinfection and flushing has been challenging to get this well on where it should be. But we did some more this week and it's like it might be turning around. So Steve, do you want to add anything else on that?
Yeah, so the shock treatments we've been doing, we were having, like Clint said, having a hard time getting a residual. And this last one, Matt took a sample yesterday. We actually got a pretty good residual from it. So that's promising, but we won't know until we get the results back.
Is this the one that we reworked?
Yes, this was.
Yeah, Haynes well number 2. We had
Been
rehabbed
down a
it.
well.
We had rehabbed it 3 or 4 years ago. When they did do that rehab, there was spots on the casing in the bottom that was really corroded. So they filled in the bottom and sealed it off. One of the concerns that we have is whether the surface seal for the casing, which prevents water from the top of the ground from getting in, it has to usually be forced down, clear down all through the gravel, and it gets cleaned up and then it comes in, lower. If there's a break in that surface, it could potentially come in before it's been naturally filtered.
Wow.
Right? So that would be if this doesn't work, that's our next step is we're gonna have to pull the well and inspect for that surface seal, maybe do some special logging where they can tell what the concrete around the well, the condition of that is. But again, none of that water's been put into the system. All of our sampling of the system and the other wells is looking good. So just wanted to make the board aware of that. We're working through that to make sure we protect the public health before anything.
Great.
So. They've also wanted to bring the board's attention, the PFAS, you've heard of the PFAS. We've had to do some additional sampling because we had some hits on 2 of the chemicals.
Yeah, so when we sampled our finished blend, that's what comes out of the plant, a combination of all of our wells. There was just a slight detection, and
it's below the limits, but
Yeah.
they want us to do some additional testing.
And so we're working with the state, and they're actually paying for the test to sample all the wells to, see if we can isolate where it's coming from. But the state also told us that our neighbors, they didn't say which one, but we pretty much got one neighbor. They've got really high levels in their system, so.
Is it existing naturally?
No, PFAS is that man-made chemical that it's basically like Teflon.
Yeah, I mean,
It's really hard to break down. It's really small chemical.
it's in tons of different stuff, and they say it can like leach into the ground from landfills or anything,
It's,
so.
the argument against it, there's two arguments. And some argue that you get more of it even just from your clothing and your cookware than you would ever get from the groundwater.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
So they've actually, this administration, the Trump administration, is dialing back how restrictive these limits would be. These limits aren't in place yet.
Yeah.
There's just been a bunch of testing to see determine how much the problem is. And so we don't actually have any PFAS requirements yet. This is all for in the future. And from my understanding, the Trump administration has even dialed back what the EPA would require. So just wanted to make you aware, in the past sampling, we haven't had any hits. There are some really small amounts that have been detected. And it would, one of the reasons we did additional sampling is to determine the scope, if there's anything else in there. So wanted to make you aware of that. Anything else, Steve?
No, that's it.
Okay. On the wastewater side, just the SL Rat's begun the acoustical inspection services, right, Dallas? So you might see the golf carts out in the system.
I seen them today.
Excited about this. Our crews have raised 17 buried manholes so far, as of our last discussion, with only a few remaining left to complete. So that's,
so is that just because they've settled over time, or because they did overlays and built the road?
Overlays,
overlays.
yeah. Or we found them through inspection and they just need to be brought to grade.
I know we talked about this. We've been working on a draft in-house no-fault sewer backup program policy that we'll talk about on this agenda later. Auditors have completed their work and they're on this agenda as well. And then we're kind of reaching the finish line here with Yapify and this AMI portal. So we're getting close. Trevor and Leal also worked with them to get a grant. So if we can get some money to be able to implement that program, we'd be excited to have that help us. Not a big grant. What was it? 50%.
50%, 3 years.
For 3 years, but it'll add up. Nothing new on delinquent accounts to highlight. And then just wanted to highlight on communication and morale. We've had some successful interaction with the community schools. I want to thank Andrew and Steve for putting on some presentations, working with the schools on Career Day. Just had a lot of positive feedback, and it sounds like we'll be invited back in the future. So I think that's good result out of there. DR Horton and Salt Lake Excavating's finally begun work on the 4100 South water line. They made our first connection on the drinking water side, and that went well. We're hoping that they just keep working on our stuff and getting it out of the way so that the road can then.
Do we have any way to put pressure on them to be able to put crews on there to get this done? All the excavation, all the,
I don't think there's really a tool for us beyond the agreement, amendment. There is a time frame in there, right?
Oh, there is.
But the city is really driving that with the final road construction, so.
I mean, if they only put 4 guys on it and they're just poking along versus, you know,
Yeah, even to get this tie-in, we've been pushing them just via email and talking, and we'll keep doing that, for our infrastructure.
So as we talked today, the tie-in to bring everything up before the city can build the road, right? We're probably looking, what time frame we're looking at, with all the,
So to finish the water and secondary, it's probably a month. Soon. But
And then they have storm drain and.
we still have storm drain. So we're looking towards the end of summer before that road can even start, probably.
there are ways to phase the work. I don't know what their plan is, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah, and we don't know either, so.
maybe the city can pin them
But
down.
I'll keep poking them.
We've been trying.
Hey, you guys got this, get a second crew, get this. Those things I can verbally ask, request, so.
Nathan, you probably don't want to respond on anything, right? With the DR Horton, with that road? Okay.
But I think we've talked about the other things, so I think anything else from the board, that's my report.
So let's go back to, I think it'd be really good. You guys are going to be in the 4th of July parade. I think it'd be neat if you had a banner about your reuse water. I think that would be a pretty neat,
Yeah, we can do that.
deal to just kind of give everybody some communication. And was the water district going to have any kind of an open house for the reuse
We did the one
for just,
for one of the thoughts we had discussed is maybe we tie that with the landscape garden
okay?
and do maybe a combined type.
I think it'd be kind of cool to do some kind of like an open house, just so people can see, because when you tell them that we're doing reuse, they're going,
Yeah,
I think if they seen it, it'd be a whole different ballgame.
okay. We can do that. We'll work towards getting something set up.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay?
Okay, let's move on. Trevor, to your engineering report.
Thanks, Board Chair. For the engineering report, we've just been making steady progress on the projects that we have, like the infill pump station. The grid building is, it's really close to being fully operational. Electrical is pretty well complete. We ran a lot of piping from our existing headworks over to that to make a transition from where the grid is sent. Really close to getting those connections and being able to use that equipment. The pump station itself, as you know, the screw pumps are in. They've coated the channels. They started putting on splash guards and installing grading. They did steps, the sidewalks are on there, so that structure is almost complete as well. Some big things that still need to happen is some of the yard piping, and then some work inside the wet well, the east head works. But moving along well there. Haynes well number 8, we've got the contractor out there starting to drill the well. We also were able to get the application completely submitted into the EPA. They've started their paperwork process. We have a grant number and a person assigned to it. I anticipate that we'll get some paperwork in the next, hopefully, few weeks for us to sign to finalize that. And then the intent is, once we have that in place and towards the end of the drilling, we'll bid that out for the pump station. Then West Side Collection Project 1B, we've got an item on the agenda to discuss that and get the fiber relocated and get that project across SR 201. West Side Collection, project phase 3 is moving along well. Working with the design engineer, we've got some areas there where we're crossing Kennecott land and into the Copper Club Golf Course. So we've started communication with Kennecott as well as the golf course to get our alignment through there. Started looking at needs for easements, things of that nature. The operations building of the treatment plant, we've got an agenda item on the meeting for that. The reservoir, we just visited. There's maybe a couple little things on the punch list. We'll wrap up with Newman. But all in all, that is in really good shape and just waiting for that secondary water. Lead and copper, moving along well. Again, customers have just been great on this one. Sometimes it's a struggle to get them to sign the forms that we need, but as far as getting on the property, working through that, they've been great. So is Tempest, and we're about 50% complete there. And you'll continue to see Tempest out there on 8950, 9150, going through that. And then Conservation Garden, we've got our plan set at 100%. We're finalizing some signage there, and then we'll look to get that bid out so that it can be planning and done this fall. So that's it for the engineering. Any questions on anything specific?
Oh, looks good.
That's good. Okay, moving on. Steve, your water report.
All right, thank you, Board and Chair. So the culinary water production for the month of May was 178.42 million gallons, or 547.62 acre feet. That's a 0.12% decrease from 2025. Our year-to-date production was 597.12 million gallons, or 1,832.65 acre feet, and that's a 0.87% increase from 2025. So far, year-to-date, we've purchased 337.08 acre feet of water from Jordan Valley. And the secondary water production for the month of May was 50.84 million gallons, or 156.04 acre feet. That's a 13.86% decrease from 2025. Year-to-date, we've done 71.68 million gallons, or 220 acre feet. That's a 9.99% decrease from 2025. As far as the call-outs go, we had a total of 28. 25 of those were from the water, and 3 of them were from wastewater, for a total of 93 hours, 78 which were water, and 15 of those were wastewater. We had 1 main line leak, 5 service line leaks, and then 22 miscellaneous calls. That's all I have, unless you guys have any questions.
Nope, I'm good, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, Dallas, let's go over to wastewater.
Sure, Mr. Chairman. So the wastewater treatment plant remained in compliance with all the permit requirements throughout May. Routine sampling's just been really consistent and within the expected ranges with no issues to report. Reuse sent to the system was 35 million gallons for the month of May. That's 5 million gallons more than we did in May of 2025. And then treatment staff completed some jar testing. We're testing alternative polymer sources. There wasn't any performance increase and there were no cost savings, so we're not gonna make a change on that end. And then one thing that may or may not hit the radar is there's an issue at the Tooele City wastewater treatment plant. So they've been coming to our plant for the last 2 days to get microorganisms. We've given them about 100,000 gallons. They took a slug load from an industrial user and it killed their aeration basins. So we're working with them as good as we can to get them back online. No news yet. I think they're still in a pretty tight spot, but we'll do everything we can to support them.
How long ago did this happen before? Was it a year ago or 2 years?
It's been a few years since they've had to come get bugs, but yeah, it happens more often than anybody would want. So,
We done it when I was down there twice. We done it before when I was down there.
and then just BOD and TSS, we're still in the 98, 99 percentile rate. Effluent ammonia looks good, wasting rate's all consistent, so plant's in a really good spot. And nothing else really to report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kaylee L.
Thank you, Mr. Board and Chair. As far as reporting on the compliance requirements for the district, I believe we're in compliance with everything. I've got a few highlighted. Again, for Clint's benefit, I kind of changed this form. The last form, there was 3 columns. The first column was the date we completed it. Second column was due date, and the third column that I took out was like next anticipated completed date. But I feel like it was easier to read if there's a date in the completed, that means we've completed it. If there's not, we haven't. I don't know. So the first item there highlighted is our annual filing of our financial statements. That will be done after the audit report is presented today, and it's due by June 30th. So we should be able to make that deadline easily. The next item is the semi-annual report to the State Money Management Council. It's a report of our bank balance basically at June 30th, and it's not due until July 31st. On the second page, the first highlighted is our CCR report. That will be going out to our residents by, well, a link to that report will go out to our residents on 7/1 or in our next billing. And then anybody that wants to call and get a copy, they can get a paper copy. It will be posted to our website also. And then we send a letter to the state confirming that it was to our residents by July 1st. The water conservation plan, we've been working on it. Ty's been working on the water conservation plan. And so that's, I don't know when it's due, at the end of the year, I believe. And we'll be happy to report the ethical behavior pledges, I believe are all turned in now. Just year 3.
Get with them after the meeting.
Great. Yeah, that's all I have to report.
Thank you.
Unless you have any questions.
Looks good.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Andrew?
Yes, just go over the human resources report. As Clint said, we're fully staffed. At the end of last month, we completed a trench shoring training. We went through some of OSHA's training in here, and then we went over to the shop and we showed everybody how to use the trench box just to make sure they're up to speed with it again. We did Arbinger training this week with some of our new employees. Mandy and Katie were able to attend CPR and first aid this week. Upcoming, we've got work order training that Leal is going to be putting on for all the operators on how to track our work that's on Magna Water assets rather than at an actual address. And so she'll be doing that next week. We were going to Thatcher Chemical to do some training on chlorine next week. Dallas was able to schedule that for us with his contacts there, so we're excited to go do that. We are sending some employees to trench shoring, and then at the end of the month, we have a company coming in to do an on-site confined space training for our monthly safety meeting. And then next month will be our on-site cybersecurity training. This month, we're focusing on heat-related illnesses, talking about what challenges arise as the temperatures go up and how to protect themselves out there in the heat. We're all scheduled to go with for the 4th of July. Ty Quinn's gonna attend, and Gavin Henshaw, and I believe we've got a couple other people that are interested in going, so we'll be there with bells on, excited to participate. It's always a good time there. We're starting to talk about end of summer party. We're looking at possible dates, if the board's supportive, of September 17th or September 24th. just do a luncheon and get together here with the employees.
17th or the 24th?
Yes, whichever ones works best for,
What day is that? Is that a
those are
Thursday?
both Thursdays. It's the Thursday following the board meeting and then the Thursday following that.
Oh, great.
We're starting to work on, third quarter goals with the employees. We'll be meeting with everybody next week and going over where people are at with that. And then last, just a fleet update. Been working with, Jerry Signer, Ken Garford, and, trying to work with LHM Chevy to get some numbers together to see where we're at with our current fleet. I think we're in a positive place right now with the fleet. I think I have some numbers that would be worth bringing back to the board next month if that's what they'd like to see.
Okay, will you do me a favor? Will you give me mileage on the vehicles?
Yes.
From the highest to the lowest?
Yes.
Please?
Absolutely. I can get that for you today.
Okay.
And that's it for me unless there's any other questions.
No questions. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to water and sewer availability, possibly motion to approve.
Okay. Thanks, Board and Chair. What we have here is what's called a mega satellite. It's a building located at 7730 West, SR 201. That's next to the Morgan, plant
Yes.
out there, to the west of it. And what they're intending is a couple of warehouse buildings set there side by side. We've gone through our process, created the will serve letter. There's drinking water in the frontage road as well as sewer. And there's a dry secondary line. We've run our model analysis and fire codes are good. And we recommend approving, providing water and sewer to that development. Questions?
I have a question, not on this particular one, but in that area, the tree recycling place was using drinking water. Have we talked to them now about using reuse water?
That line along there is still dry. Does not tie in, so
Oh.
we haven't had a discussion on that with them.
They said they were held to that, but they might be interested if we approached them. But what do you think it would cost to?
So, I mean, obviously the reuse comes from the.
Yeah, Morgan Asphalt using culinary too.
Yeah, the reuse comes from the treatment plant and it crosses 201, and our first connection isn't until the FedEx.
Right.
So it'd be about half a
Anything
mile.
on SR 201 would be, we haven't looked at tying any of those into that HDPE line, just because it's a transmission. So there are still some, we would need to get across 201 in a different location and tie in either at 72 or 84.
I just took some stuff down there and I was asking, you guys are using a lot of water. They said, well, we have to use drinking water, but now that we're on reuse water, that's as close to drinking water as you'll get.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
especially
that'd be a good
for
option.
their situations, there's no bacteria in it or anything.
Yeah, I mean, from here over to 70, we have most of our line along 72 that developers have put in, and quite a bit of dry line on 2100 as well. So, but we don't have a current plan to fill those gaps.
Okay,
Okay, thank you. Need a motion?
yes. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to provide Omega Satellite on 7730 West, 201, water and sewer availability.
I'll second that.
Been motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, project award and agreement, discussion possibly motion approving the following projects. Trevor.
Okay, so first up here, we have the WRF operations building. As you see in the letter, we had 6 different contractors provide bids for this. And the apparent low bidder was Paulson Construction, $2,063,199.42. Bowen and Collins went through their bid packet and all their references, and they met all the requirements, and that is the current recommendation for awarding the project to Paulson. There's additional discussion you'd like to have?
No?
I know we had some challenges with them. They're the ones that built this building. So we did have them review the second bidder if the board didn't feel comfortable. And the second bidder also was deemed qualified, and so there is that option. It becomes a difficult, I mean, that has to have justification, obviously, if we were to not go with the low bid.
So Paulson, they're the ones that do the firehouses too, right?
Yep. So we could also.
I know we had a lot of problems with them here.
So if the board chose, we do have experience with them. It's based on our own experience and history here in the district. The board could choose to award to Valley Design and Construction, but obviously we would have to make a determination that it was due to inadequate performance on past project for here at the district. And legal counsel can verify anything I missed on that.
Well, that's accurate.
Okay.
Who'll be tracking them as far as project?
So we have Bowen and Collins, as our.
And are they familiar with their work ethic?
Have you worked with Paulson? Nate? I personally have not, no, but Bowen and Collins does have a good system through their CM and their inspectors. We've done the reuse project and the influent project with great success with them as part of our team.
That's the only thing I think is we need to check them very closely. Okay, Mr. Chairman.
So, never mind. I was gonna say, should we just pull all the bids and hold them for a month and then rebid it?
We can do that. That is an option if.
You want to do?
We could pull them and then wait 30 days and rebid it.
We could if the board would like to go that direction. As you can see, we have a range of bidding there.
No, you know what, we're okay, we'll just make sure Bones and Collins, they make sure they crack the whip on these guys, because I know how this building went.
Yeah, there was challenges. This building down at obviously we know that there's some unique features to this building with the wood timber frame.
Yeah.
And that is what a lot of the challenge came down to, is the structural requirements during the building review led to some disagreement on cost. And then we had some quality control issues. So we think with the building design down at the wastewater plant, it will be a much more traditional,
Okay.
simpler building to construct. And Bowen and Collins has designed a lot of these facilities
Okay.
in our area with Salt Lake County. So we don't anticipate any of those issues through the building department.
But we all know that it doesn't take long to eat up that difference
Right.
in
Yeah. And
consultation.
that's right.
So it's gonna be real important. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to award for the Magna WRF Operations Building to Polson Construction in the amount of $2,063,999.42.
I'll second that.
It's been motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any discussion? We're all good? Okay, Trevor.
Next on there is a task order for Bowman and Collins to perform construction management services on the operations building. As I mentioned, Bowman and Collins is designed in NCM on multiple projects. Currently, the Influent project, they've done a great job. They think a lot through what's required in the scope. They'll do a lot of the special inspections on this. And I worked through this with them, and believe that it's a fair, reasonable price for those services and recommend approval. Any questions or anything else?
No,
Discuss.
pretty straightforward. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion then to approve Bowen and Collins and Associates task order for construction management services for the WRF Operations Building Project in the amount not to exceed $195,280.
I'll second that.
Been motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Trevor, next one's yours.
Okay, next one is in line with this same project. It's from IGES. For material testing, and that would be mainly our concrete cylinders, testing of asphalt, compaction testing. This is to ensure that the contractors are doing the work that they're required to. IGS also performed the material testing for our Influent project, and that has been successful. And I worked with them to create this scope of the work required and recommend approving that as well.
Yeah, okay. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve IGES task order for material testing for the WRF Operations Building Project in the amount not to exceed $13,650.
I'll second that.
Been motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Trevor.
Okay, number 4 there, long awaited, I feel. This is for the fiber relocation or West Side Collection Project 1B. Stantec worked tirelessly to get plans together, get it to the contractor, BD Bush, who then in turn has gone out and gotten some costs from different subs, one being the fiber relocation company as well as their directional driller mix. And what we have here is that total change order cost. It is high, I will admit. Stantec has done a lot of background work in discussions with Nick, Speedy Bush, to try and get this as low as we can. But when you go through it, it really comes down to this unknown that threw a wrench in the project. It pulled Nick's off. There were some costs associated with that. For safety, we had to, fill in the pits that they had for their bore, which came with some cost. And there's some remobilization costs there as well. It's a hard one, but it's a very important project for us. Once we get this across the freeway and we tie in, this takes all of our flow from the west side and puts it into that new pipeline that goes up 8,021. And this project gives us the capacity that we need as well as replaces that aging infrastructure that's there.
That's detrimental. I'll take pressure off.
Any questions or anything else to discuss on this?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to propose approval for BD Bush change order number 1 for the West Side Collection Project. 1B, increasing the contract by $1,201,762.01 for the fiber relocation.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, discussion possibly motion to approve the following administration items. Liao,
I apologize, Chair, we don't need a motion on this
okay,
agenda item. I should put it down where no motion was made. Just for information only, I just wanted to let the board know who came in to file declaration of candidacies. They were all verified with Salt Lake County as qualified candidates. We have, excuse me, we have Jeff White, yourself, Mick Sudbury, sorry, and then Doyle Jenkins and what is her name? Stephanie Wimmer, thank you, and Sean Wall. Goodness, you guys already know. I don't need to tell you. And Mark Manzanares. So there's a total of 6, and so we'll be having the election November 2nd.
when's the withdrawal? If you decide you want to.
It's August 30th is the
That's
last
when you
way
can,
to
that's when you
withdraw.
can pull out.
Yeah, withdraw your name from being on the ballot.
Yeah,
And then the write-in deadline, so to make declaration of candidacy to be a write-in is the same day or the 31st of August.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay, our next one's gonna be done by Clinton Nathan, a discussion on the no-fault policy.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. What you have before you, Nathan, we had kind of a guideline before. It wasn't really a full formal policy that the board has seen. And so Nathan has taken that and put it into a form that could be incorporated and adopted into a policy if the board so chooses. I think Nathan's done a great job on this. I think there are some points of discussion. And if Nathan would mind leading us through this discussion, that would be helpful.
Yeah, so I think that some of the questions, and you'll see in the draft that there are several comments that I have off to the margin. The first of which is a lot of these resolutions we make effective immediately, but I think if you were to adopt this one, and this one I did last month thinking it would be on that board agenda, but my suggestion is that you would give the staff some time to create some forms and policies, which the policy would authorize them to do. If you go on to Exhibit 1, so we would make this a new section essentially, and I think this is reserved, but one of the key questions about this is if it's going to be a no-fault policy, what that means is that these are situations in which someone's damaged and it's not their fault, it's not our fault, that's involving the infrastructure in some way or another. And so that's the point of the first comment. But if you can go down to 7.2.5, Clint. Yep. Two of the big and these are policy questions. This isn't legal. This is just where the board wants to set the needle. Is I do think that we need to define, when someone would be eligible to request funding assistance from the board, and I've used the term extenuating circumstances, and I've defined it as it's listed there. And I will admit this is a pretty narrow definition, but my understanding is this would be an application that would be intended to be narrowly applied, because the risk is that for instance, if we're paying for things that are the district's fault, we already have policies that deal with that. If we're paying for things that are the customer's fault, then that's just going to open the floodgates for people to come in every time their insurance claim denies something or there's a problem, they're going to be coming to the district to pay for it. So I've tried to define it in a way that it's just a freak thing that happens. There is language there that it's not the direct result of a natural disaster or act of God. So for instance, if there's an earthquake, it's not coming here saying, fix our stuff. The other thing, and this is a concept that's woven throughout it, is I think my recommendation is that you have some sort of a maximum payment, that then it would be a lifetime, and that someone could receive up to $10,000. And that's just a number I pulled out of a hat. You guys could set it wherever you want. And that was really just intended for discussion purposes. But I'm thinking of kind of leak forgiveness policies. A lot of the districts that I represent will say, hey, you can get like a one-time leak if you're eligible, like you're in good standing, like you're on whatever software we have to monitor water use. So I kind of ported that concept over here, that you're eligible for a lifetime of up to $10,000. Now, you could set that number higher. This really kind of a placeholder. The other thing is I have made this kind of discretionary under section 7.3. My thought is that this is something that you guys are going to do depending on available money. And so it's not something that, and I have a comment on that later on, that you would necessarily budget for every year. My concern with that is if you are budgeting for it every year, you're just kind of asking for people to come in. This is just intended to be kind of a limited relief valve. And so I've made this a may that you will do in your own discretion. It's not mandatory. No one's entitled to it. If you go down to 7.4, I do think that we have to have some requirement about when they submit an application to the district, because I don't want people coming back 3, 4, 5 years later when the documentation's gone. So my proposal is they would have to submit the application to Lee Isle within 90 days, and they'd have to show that their insurance has inspected the claim and determined the claim to be the direct result of extenuating circumstances, and some other documentation.
I had a question. I wondered if there's any reason on 7.6.3, if you could put in that it needs to be, we need to be notified like within a week and no later than 30 days.
Yeah, sure, we could.
Because sometimes all the evidence is gone in 30 days.
Yeah, and that was.
If we could make that
Yeah.
next week.
I like that.
I just threw that in there, so we could just say, I would say no later than a week or 7 days.
Okay.
And so I'll just make that change. So kind of getting back up to 7.5, I put that the money would come out of the operating budget. This is maybe more of a discussion for Lee Isle. But again, my thought is if you guys create a separate fund for this, you're kind of inviting people to come in as instead of, okay, this year we happen to have money, yeah. So that was my thinking there. And then when I finish presenting, Lee Isle and others can chime in. Again, like 7.6.2 is it has to be the direct result of extenuating circumstances. Again, that's not acts of God, not stuff that's their fault. Something that's beyond everyone's reasonable control. We talked about the hard deadline that Jeff had asked about. And then 7.10, this is kind of the harder language on it's a lifetime benefit. That the maximum payment, i.e. $10,000, that's the amount that the board may approve and the total amount that the owner may receive under multiple applications. So if they come in and they get 10 grand the first time, that's it. If they come in the first time, they get 2,500, they come in the next time and they get the rest, that's all they get. And then the last question, I'll just go down to 7.14 at the end. This was a section that I think was included in the initial outline that I have some concerns about, and that is that this was going to set aside a separate water utility enterprise extenuating circumstances account. And in some ways, I know that makes it easier to budget if you get these types of requests, but it also, as I said before, could potentially encourage these types of requests, and I'm not sure that's what you want to do. So that was, kind of the nature there is, do you really want to have a separate line item, or do you just want to have this that we pay out of the operating account when we have available funds on a case-by-case basis?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind just taking that section out.
Yeah.
What do you?
So this is, again, this
Be
is,
okay with taking that out.
yeah, so this is a pure policy call. We don't have to have this policy if you don't want it. You know, in terms of when the deadlines, the information required, the limits, those are all purely the council's call.
I think, thanks Nathan, I think that what we've seen is there's just been more pressure on the districts to have something like this. I agree, not all of them, especially the smaller ones, but we know that a lot of the larger ones are going in this direction, because they have experienced this dilemma. And so we wanted to get this to you as a draft. We weren't expecting any motion today or any approval. Any feedback in the meantime that you have on the amount?
The only thing that I struggle with, to be honest with you, is the no fault. You know, it's like, it's not their fault, but yet it's our sewer line or our water line, and it's not our fault. But when you think about it, it really is our fault, because the sewer belongs to us, the water belongs to us. So I just struggle with that no fault, because I get it for the district, I get the whole situation, but at the end of the day, it's just like, it isn't their fault that their house got flooded because our pipe broke, but yet we're saying we'll give you $10,000 and you guys go on your way. I mean, and I'm looking at, like, if it happened to me, okay? If it happened to me or you guys or whatever, I mean, are you okay with that? I mean, that's just a tough one to swallow.
Yeah.
But we
Well,
have
my-
procedures that cover situations in which it is the district's fault. And so so we already have that.
But you know how it all works. It's like, let's litigate it, you know,
My concern with the 10,000, it feels a little bit low, just based on the past experience with what the costs end up being. And it's only 5,000 more than some of the standard policies you can get. So if the goal is to be able to truly address these, I think the board needs more flexibility, but that also at the same time does open up more risk for financial.
yeah, I understand that too.
And so that's why, if it was 10,000, I think not having a separate account makes sense. I think one of the challenges is once you get into those higher ranges, it's tough to pull that from
No, I
the
understand
operating
that, I
budgets.
understand
And
that
so
too. I'm just,
what a lot of places are calling it is more of a emergency fund. It's not, it might be a reserve.
Yeah.
There's some strategic stabilization fund is what we've heard. Revenue stabilization. There's other things that we could determine that could potentially be used for, but that's why that idea came, is if you're actually talking about more than 10,000. So that's
I like
something
the
to consider.
document we read this morning that says it's gotta meet these requirements.
Yeah.
So the more communication we put in there, I think that would give us a little bit of room to evaluate.
and I understand too, you know, you put it out there and everybody's gonna come running, right? So you have to be careful that way, but I don't know,
But they have to go through the event. I mean,
right.
yeah, I mean, we don't have sewer backups that often relatively.
And that's one of the questions I have with, you know, why we're having this as a discussion, not an action item, is
Right.
how we define, and this is what you're getting at, Mr. Chair, is, you know, the way that extenuating circumstances is defined now, it's gonna be pretty narrow. If we could try to broaden that up, I think if we're
No, and if these guys are okay with it, I'm okay with it. I
It
mean,
looks good,
It looks good, I
little
mean,
tweaking here and there, but I
Right,
think it
right.
looks good.
And what we could do if we bring it back, is we could have an actual application form that we could have approved as part of it. And I didn't want to prepare that until we got the board's feedback on this. And to Clint's point, I just picked $10,000 out of a hat. I just,
Oh, sure.
and we could set it where, but I do agree with Clint, if it's gonna be higher than that, then you probably do wanna prepare for it. And we probably need to include like a first come, first serve, basis. That is one of the benefits of having an account, is it's like, all right, we're gonna set aside X amount each year for this program, and we're just going to, and it's first come, first serve. One thing to keep in mind, and I think part of the reason why the bigger districts this is increasing, is because, one, the insurance industry is changing. And I mean, the insurance industry has always been stingy when it comes to paying things out. Now it's getting a lot harder. The other thing is a lot of the federal funds and grant programs that have been available just for everybody to maintain stuff and do things are going away. There's less state funding, there's less federal funding, and so a lot of those requests are trickling down. And Sherry, you know that as mayor, and Magna City is seeing all sorts of extra requests that it probably historically hasn't seen either. So
Right.
this is just, I think, another result of that decrease in public funding, or at the state, federal level.
Right.
It's just trickling down.
I wonder if we need to have something in there, Nathan, that if there's, like, if we go in and do an inspection, there's a little problem, and they disregard that. I think at that point, when they disregard, you know, what you tell them they need to do or whatever,
That disqualifies them?
I think it could.
Yeah,
I think that needs to be in that application or the, you know,
form they fill out.
yeah. Cause then it's pretty hard to help somebody that just totally disregards what you ask them to do or what.
We have some language already in 7.73 that gets to that.
Oh, really?
But we could make it a little more defined, that, you know, the property owner is at fault or is otherwise negligible, but we could, you know, add some language to that, or disregarded recommendations or direction from the district.
7.74?
7.73. That's what that criteria is trying to get at, that they're at fault. And
Oh,
so,
I
but we could specify what it means to be, and maybe that, to the chairman's point, maybe we could specify what it means to be at fault. You know, what fault is that you knowingly took action and did something dumb, you disregarded our recommendation, and so, you know, that, we could maybe tease that out a little bit.
It looks pretty good, Nathan.
Is there a section in there, I don't know how anyone else feels, but I would definitely want to come to the board on any application.
Well, it all has to come before the
Absolutely, yeah.
board. Yeah, it all has to come before the board.
Okay.
The board has.
I mean, it would go to you, you'd make a review, and you'd make a recommendation, and the
Right.
board would make the final call.
Yeah, okay. Do we want to make a motion on this?
No.
And
Well-
another thought, the payout or whatever, it could be two parts. I mean, it could be a part for cleanup, it could be a part for,
That's
you
a
know,
good
you
point.
could,
Yeah, good point.
you can mix that up any way you'd like.
I think that's a good point.
Just something to think about.
Okay, Trevor, we're gonna move it over to you again.
Okay, back to easement. So as part of our WRF operations building, Rocky Mountain Power, we need a new service meter there, and some power ran to the building. And in order to do that, they're requesting an easement from us, which is pretty typical. If a service goes across private property, they request an easement to get that there. And so, yeah, Clint's got that up. That's the image of the easement. They have power along the frontage, they'll be pulling.
Oh, wow.
Our contractor will do the majority of the work, and they'll pull the wire through conduits over there, but then to the meter at the building, there's the need for the easement. They send over a pretty basic, easement. Nathan and myself have gone through that. Nathan's made some recommendations on changes to that easement, and that's what's in here. That's been resubmitted back to them, for them to review. I don't know what their policies are on adjustments to their easements.
Yeah, I don't,
We're in a weird situation where we need power, they need an easement. And so we've asked for all of these things. Nathan's pointed out very specifically, which ones he feels like we would really want, which ones are more asks, and so we're in that negotiation. So, I mean, what I'm showing you here is the ideal situation, but what ultimately comes back, I think, could be a little different. Anything else to add to that? Nathan?
yeah, like if we were issuing this under a normal circumstance, I'd have many, many more edits than what I proposed. And so, but at the end of the day, Rocky Mountain Power has its policies, and we need to see what they're willing to accept. My main thing is I just want to make, a lot of that is just standard boilerplate that you include when you're granting someone an easement on your property. For instance, like, hey, you're getting this as is, we're not making certain warranties. 2, we still have the ability to use our property if you have an easement in it, as long as we're not interfering with it. So a lot of it is, I think, relatively non-controversial. Like, for instance, I haven't included an indemnity clause, which I typically use. And I think, I understand where they're coming from too. They just have a very simple easement. And my concern with that is there's always a potential for, the more simplistic it is, the more likely there is to be a dispute at some point. But we'll just need to see what they say. I mean, we can make something work.
So with basically what I'm asking for is just acknowledge that we would, provide the easement. Nathan and myself work through, what that final easement language is.
So is the request for the motion, Trevor, that the board tentatively approve the easement subject to finalization of the negotiations with Rocky Mountain Power, subject to Clint approving the final document? I mean, we can bring it back if you want, but this is the biggest it's going to be. I doubt we're gonna get something too much different back.
You don't wanna hold them up either. Doesn't it take like 6 months to get?
Yeah, they did say it's gonna take a while to get through our legal, and, it is part of the project.
Well, that's fine. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion then to proceed with the Rocky Mountain Power easement for the power service to the WRF operations building project.
A motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Kaylee,
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Board. Approval of the 401K plan amendments. These were amendments that APA had to make to our 401K plan, and the changes are a good faith effort to comply with the requirements of Division T of the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2023, also known as Secure 2.0, and guidance issued by the Internal Revenue Service and Employees Benefit and Security Administrator. So we didn't personally ask for these changes, but they had to make them to comply with those laws and the IRS. We just needed an approval to do that. Or they need approval to do that.
If you were able to summarize what
A little bit of summarization is like on the last 2 or 3 pages.
you could see it here.
Yeah, sorry, I'm getting there. And I'll be honest, not all of them make 100% sense to me, because I don't know those laws, but it looks like they, are changing the definition of an eligible employee. It's expanded to include long-term part-time employees for pre-tax selective deferrals. Another definition is the long-term part-time employee. And qualifications for the long-term part-time employee. And then, looks like there's a change for
Bob Burnside.
entry for long-time part-time employees.
Leal, who determines the hardship? I know that's came up.
I
before.
believe the IRS has put some regulations on a 401K for hardships.
That would be the plan administrator.
Yeah, and
Does the
complying with the IRS. Oh, who determines it if someone?
Yeah, if somebody comes to you and says, hey, I gotta have this, who
There's,
determines that?
if I remember correctly, there's some qualifications that the that the person has to meet, and the IRS has set those qualifications.
So the plan
But
administrator
then the plan
reviews.
administrator makes sure that they comply with those.
So this would go to.
APA.
APA, and it would have to be something like,
Like Berkeley would,
loss of home,
Oh,
or,
There's criteria that,
and then you have to give them all the documentation required to meet the IRS's standards.
yeah, and the criteria is set at the IRS.
Then you'd likely have to do it again come tax season.
Yeah, so, as far as changes, there's changes to distributions apparently. Required beginning date for required minimum distributions, and then force out. And you read, there's, changes to the hardship distributions.
okay, we ready to make a
Yep,
motion?
you good?
So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the 401K plan amendment.
Let's second that.
Any motion, second, all in favor? Aye. Kaylee L.,
Oh, sorry. So my
You're-
auditors called this morning and asked if they could review this audit over the electronically. And so, I'm sorry, give you a minute, we can give them a call and they'll do it here. That's 9.
You got planning and zoning tonight, don't you?
Yeah.
Hello, this is Lee Isle Fitzgerald with Magna Water District. Is Ron available?
Yeah, let me let him know that you're on the line. Hold on one moment.
Thank you. I'm just gonna. No, that's not very long. Now we get music.
there we go.
So I feel like the audit went well and the reports. Nothing to surprise you.
This is Ron.
Hey Ron, it's Lee Isle. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. I guess we can hear it pretty good now.
Yeah.
So we are at your agenda item to present the audit to our board members. We're in the board meeting now and you're being recorded. So
Okay.
everyone, this is Ron Stewart, our auditors with, I forget the name of it.
Gilbert and Stewart.
Thank you.
That is us. I'm just pulling this up here really quick. Thank you for letting me be here and especially electronic today. I appreciate that. What I'll do is just take a couple minutes and just go through what we do as auditors, our conclusions, and how we came to those. So for an audit of a district, there's really 3 areas we look at, and potentially 4, but this year it'll just be 3 areas. We want to make sure the financial statements are materially correct, that they meet generally accepted accounting standards and government auditing standards, and that those numbers can be relied upon. The second thing we want to look at is internal controls. We want to make sure the controls are designed, implemented, and working effectively. And then the third thing is we want to make sure that you're in compliance with state law based on the areas that we looked at during this fiscal year. So just really quickly, as far as what we do as auditors, we come in, we take the trial balance or the books of the city, or sorry, of the district, and we perform a number of tests on those balances. We look at cash, we send out confirmations to banks, confirmations to lending institutions. So we want to make sure that what you're showing on your books matches what they show. So like I said, we'll do that for cash, for debt, for tax revenues, and anything else we can think of to confirm to make sure that those numbers are matching. We pull a number of invoices during the year. So at the beginning of the year, we'll pull a significant number of invoices. We look to make sure that the check matches the invoice, that the invoice is properly approved, that it was posted in the right period, that it was posted in the right GL account, and that seemed reasonable. We will also pull invoices after the end of this fiscal year, and we want to make sure that the expense was posted in the proper period. So if something happened in June, but we didn't pay for it in July, we want to make sure that expense is recorded properly. So we'll pull those invoices and review those to make sure that those are accurate. We also look at invoices for capital assets and other things as we go through our audit process. If we need to verify something, we'll pull an invoice for that. There's a lot of analyticals that we do. We'll look at the beginning of the audit, we'll pull a sample, and we'll look at this year and compare it to last year. We want to make sure that we can understand the differences, the big differences that happen within the fiscal year, so we can design tests to make sure we understand those. As we're doing our individual testing of balances, we'll also look at analytical leaks of this year, last year, compared to budget as well, and see if we can see what we understand those differences. And then as we write the financial statements and those statements are finished, we do it a third time on a financial statement level, just to make sure that we can understand what had happened during the year. There's calculations on the financial statements. We go through and recalculate those balances, make sure those are accurate and meeting accounting standards. We do that with accrued payroll, compensated absences, and other various balances on the financial statements that have calculations. We'll go back, depreciation expense in life, we'll go back and recalculate those to make sure that those are right. And then there's another host of other things that we do to be able to verify that the balances are materially correct and we relied upon. So through all those that testing and evaluation, we've come to the opinion that your financial statements do meet accounting standards and that they can be relied upon. And in our opinion, it says, in our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects, with respect to the financial position of Magna Water District as of December 31st, 2025, and with respect to changes in financial position and cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. That's considered a clean opinion and unmodified opinion, or the best opinion that you can receive. The second thing that we do is look at internal controls. We don't give an opinion on controls, but we do evaluate those controls to make sure that they're designed and they're implemented and they're working effectively. We do that through walkthroughs, interviews, questionnaires. We'll take, as part of our sample at the beginning of the year, we'll take an invoice and walk it through the process from beginning to the financial statements, see that it meets all those controls along the way. We also interview staff and then have questionnaires that help us understand those controls. If there was a portion of your district that just had no controls, or those controls had just not been working effectively, we would bring that to your attention either as a significant deficiency or a material weakness. That basically says, hey, there's a problem here that we need to address. Through our evaluations and testing, we felt that you do have good controls. The controls are implemented, working, and designed, implemented, and working. So there's no issues or things we need to bring to your attention as far as finding. The third thing we do is look at state compliance. State Auditor's Office gives us certain areas that we're supposed to look at, either on an annual basis or a rotating 3-year basis. So we pulled those. The things that we looked at in this fiscal year were, let me grab that real quick. We looked at budgetary compliance, fund balance, fraud risk assessment, government fees, and special and local service districts. So the state auditor gives us certain procedures to go through to make sure that you're in compliance with those areas. We did complete those procedures and felt that you were in compliance in those areas, so there's no findings or anything that we needed to bring to your attention as far as state compliance. So that was a quick rundown of what we do as auditors, the conclusions that we came to and how we came to those conclusions. I'd like to shout out to Leal. She wrote the financial statements this year and did a great job, so we thought that was awesome. But I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions?
I don't have any. I thought it looks great.
Yep.
Thank you.
Got some high marks.
Thank you, and I think to the staff, we throw a lot of stuff at them, ask a lot of questions, and they do a great job of responding, so you guys are in good hands.
Thank you, Ron.
Okay,
Have a good day.
have a good day, thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Okay.
So, yeah, I was good at it this year. I don't know if you caught that, but I actually challenged myself this year to write the whole report before they even got here. So it was done when they came in. And so they just do their audit work and then review the report, and it's good.
Yeah, got a lot of high marks. I marked through the report.
Great.
Looked really good. Looked
Thank
really
you.
good. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the Magna, the Gilbert Stewart CPA's Magna Water District Financial Audit for the year ending of December 31st, 2025.
I'll second that.
Been motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Leala Revolution 26-03.
So you probably noticed in the packet, they all have X's where the numbers are, and that's,
Right.
it's on the agenda just in case the certified tax rate did come in. But it did not come in. It's not here still. So we're gonna table those two, and we may have to electronically have it, or have an electronic meeting.
Special meeting.
Or special meeting to approve the tax rate that comes in from
Do
the
you
county.
expect how long that will be? Another week?
Usually, yeah, I would think within another week. Their deadline is the 8th.
George
June.
Valley hasn't got theirs either.
Yeah.
The deadline
And,
is the 8th of when?
Usually, I'm sorry,
July 8th? Is it?
June 8th.
June 8th.
June 8th.
That's why I put it on this one in
over.
case, I know. But, and then, usually we have to return the information or have ours approved by around the 22nd. So anywhere between here and the 22nd, that's when we
22nd,
should get it.
okay.
So we'll call you
You'll let us
when
know.
it comes in.
Okay.
So we'll table 6 and 7.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Need a motion on that, right?
It couldn't hurt.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to table Resolution 2026-03, the revenues budgeted for 2026, and Resolution 2026-04, adopting the final 2026 tax rates.
I'll second that.
Been motion second, all in favor? Aye. So, our next board meeting is going to be July 9th, 2026 at 10 a.m. at this building.
Can we move it to the 16th?
Can we move it to the
Mr.
16th?
Chair, yeah, that would be, I mean, if we need to move it to the 16th, then we need
It
to.
should be
move
the
it.
next
whatever works
Thursday.
for-
Is that okay?
To what?
To move it to the 16th, another week?
A motion to move it would be great, if you don't
Okay.
mind.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve next month's board meeting for July 16th at 10 a.m.
I'll second that.
Been motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we have a close today? No?
There is something that Trevor would like to discuss. So I would suggest, we meet briefly, if that's
Okay.
okay with the.
Okay.
If the board has time. If not, we can handle it offline, and just call poll. And that would work too. So that would work fine too.
I would be okay if they want to just pull us.
Okay. We can do that.
You all right?
So motion, no, consider any, so we're gonna move on down to consider action items, no agenda items discussed in, okay, nope, other business. Any other business? Okay, does someone wanna make a oh, yes,
So Magna City has hired Jay Springer to be their conflict counsel. He provided me with his edits on the franchise agreement, and I've sent them off to staff. So we need to follow up on that, but hopefully we can get something back on this.
Yeah, positive development. I would say we're encouraged by that, so.
Okay.
Excuse
I
me.
think we'll be
don't
able
know
to
what
come
that is.
to an agreement, right?
Sorry.
That's a good step forward, I think.
Okay,
So do we want to adjourn?
yes, will you make a motion to adjourn?
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I second it.
The motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It is 12:08.